We recently realized that we've been doing this show for almost 2 years and have rarely talked about modern rock and roll. That got us thinking, is rock and roll dead? The airwaves and Billboard charts are dominated by hip-hop and country artists. The biggest draws on the concert circuit are all getting older. So in this episode of Prisoners of Rock and Roll, we're going to talk about the current state of rock music and ask ourselves if rock and roll matters anymore. We're going to play some songs from some bands and share our thoughts. Let's go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Prisoners of Rock and Roll, episode number 52. I'm Bruce Kramer, and I'm just 50% of the insight and entertainment that's going to be coming through your speakers right now, because I'm here tonight behind the mic with my co-host and very good friend, my brother from another mother, Mr. Ryan McCusker.
Are you rocking?
Prisoners of Rock and Roll is sponsored by Boldfoot Socks and McCusker's Tavern at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia. What's going on, man?
Nah, man, coming off the World Series, we didn't win. The Phillies, obviously they didn't win the World Series, but we were there. It was amazing. The bar was electric. It was a great time. I am completely happy of the whole turnout of the series. Like, I couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, man, I went to Game 5, and I think I was texting you. I get down kind of early. I was sitting in the parking lot, and I had the playlist that we talked about on our last show. I had it on the speaker, had my pickup truck, had the tailgate down, was all, had all the tailgate stuff. And
did you get pumped up? Was
blasting some tunes, man. It was a great playlist. So
yeah, just like an American should sit in a parking lot and blast out metal.
Make everybody else listen to what I want to listen to. We were getting drowned out. Somebody had the full, like those portable karaoke speakers, like those big ass, like 3 feet high. The guy had it on like a fucking hand truck and was like blasting music. But in my own little 3 feet circle around my truck where I was sitting, I could hear my music and I was happy. So it's we put together a great playlist. We always put together a great playlist, but
yeah, I listen to all these songs and I try to put something good together for us. Yeah. I had a friend sitting at the bar saying he was listening to our playlist when he was working out. I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah. It's always nice when we get a compliment from somebody. So, I mean, shit, I don't care. We'll take the hate mail too, but it's all good. But, one thing that we realized that, we didn't have on our playlist is a lot of newer music. And I think this has been this is another topic. It's been on our list for a while. Like, is rock and roll dead? And I think it actually first started with, I suggested we should do a show like, can Gary Clark Jr. save rock and roll? Yeah. Cause he's like one of the few like modern, rock and roll guys that I like. And then it's kind of turned into this bigger thing. We're like, hey man, let's just talk about is rock and roll dead? And, I don't know. I thought maybe we start by just trying to answer that question now. And then maybe after we play the songs, we'll say like, has our opinion changed a little bit?
What does your opinion say? Is rock and roll dead, bro?
I don't think it's dead. I think it's more, a buddy of mine said this too, and I asked him, he said it's more like when we were growing up, if somebody said they're a jazz fan, you're kind of like, oh, you're into some like more obscure type of music.
Yeah.
It's still there. I think it's hard as hell just to find it anymore. Like,
but rock and roll.
Yeah. Like if I got in my car and I just want to put on like some rock and roll music, like on Sirius, I don't even know what channel to go to. I know there's classic rock.
Yeah, classic rock.
Right, there's classic rock.
All this other shit.
Right, I listen to Lithium a lot for the 90s shit. But if I want to listen to, like, modern stuff, like, there's that Alt Nation station. It was like, but does that rock and roll? It's just like, it's hard to find.
I don't know, like, is rock and roll dead, but is the term dead? You know, like rock and roll now, like rock and roll is like all over the place. It involves all kinds of different music. When rock and roll was just one thing, rock and roll, but now it's considered so many different things. And I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying, is pure rock and roll dead?
It might be, man. Even out of all the artists that we're going to talk about, I don't know, whatever the playlist we put together has got 40, almost 50 songs on it. And we're sure we're not going to get to all of them, but there's some stuff on here that there wasn't much that I was like, oh, okay, this is just straight up rock and roll. Like in my mind, what I say is rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to a few things. Maybe I'll find something new and change my opinion. I don't think rock and roll is dead. I just think maybe the concept of it, everything's too safe now. Meaning like all the auto-tune bullshit.
Yeah.
It's too simple now. Rock and roll used to be dangerous, used to be a lot of things. A lot of the mistakes would become part of the songs, and now it's like, oh, we're trying to make it sound like a mistake.
I have that in my notes. It's something I was reading. Yeah, some of the stuff I was reading was saying that, like music reflects the times, and we just live in a very digital age where it's like really, really easy to clean up a mistake in something. So the sounds that get produced, the music gets produced, it's very technological. There's auto-tune and drum loops and all that other shit. I mean, hell, we're two idiots and we're able to make a professional sounding podcast, so it's like anybody can do it. So, and it's just kind of reflective in the music.
Yeah. I could just see how anybody can make music from their computer, which is great, but again, it's like, it seems like there's so much shit out there. Like there's no grasping to it. It's just so much to it. You can't concentrate on one thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch when you say, oh, Machine Gun Kelly is the best rock and roll thing going on. I don't know what to think about that.
I was wondering this too. Like if we were the age we are now, when we were growing up, in the 90s, would we look at the music and have the same opinion? Because at some point I think at some point you just get to an age where you're like, I listen to what I listen to, and I'm just kind of like, I like what I like.
Oh, I'm the same way. I mean, in my world, if it's not one or the other band, it's nothing. It doesn't, I don't care about it.
But you also have a different perspective in that, like, you're either playing in a band, so you're learning other shit, or like you're at the bar and you got the jukebox on and people are playing, people are almost telling you what you're going to listen to. I know you have the kill switch.
It's kind of
for
annoying.
Certain shit, but
it's not that bad.
Do people play a lot of newer stuff when they come in?
I guess so. I don't recognize it to be new. I just recognize it to be bad. Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're playing. But, through the World Series, there's a lot of weird songs being played. But then, like, all these kids were playing Dropkick Murphy songs and Pogue songs. I think they were playing a lot of punk rock songs. I think there's a little underground scene happening still of the blue-collar punk rock thing, man.
Interesting. I find it is if I want to listen to something new, I personally find myself, I'm going backwards, like further. Like I've been listening to the 50 station on Sirius like a lot. My wife and I both have been. And there's all kinds of stuff. They're like, oh, I heard it. I remember this song. My parents playing this, or I just, I go mining backwards instead of looking for new shit on the radio. But that might just be me too.
No, it's me also. I try to dive into things from the past and then worry about what's coming into the future. There's a few bands that represent rock and roll pretty well, but I don't know. Remember when we were kids, it was like everybody had a band. It's like, Guns N' Roses was your band, and his band was Motley Crue, and his band was Van Halen. You all stood like to your band like an army.
The skaters and the metalheads would fight each other over, like the shit that they wore and the patches on your jacket. Where that was, you're right,
and then we all fight the jocks.
Right. even, so we started talking about this over the weekend and we were messaging each other and I was telling you, like, I'm just looking for like some list of just who are, like, I didn't even know where to start. Who do I put on the list to talk about? And I was looking for like a list of top rock songs or top charts and shit like that. And it was like, I don't know, man. I must have been sitting on my computer for like a half hour looking and I was like, dude, that says a lot about the state of rock and roll that I can't even find the list of what's big.
Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous. It's become such an underground thing. Rock and roll is now. Like what we were saying during the week, it's not even the Grammys. They don't even like televise the rock and roll category. It's like
Right.
we're so like not represented at all. Any rock and roll. Yeah. What do we have right now? We have the Foo Fighters. We have Green Day. We have Shine Down. There's just like the same old rock and roll bands around, the same old songs.
And I forgot, I didn't put Green Day on the list, and maybe I should have, because also they've been around, like we were in high school when that album came out, right? So so you're going on, they've been around for 30 years. And they're still, but they're still doing it, right? They're still making music,
which is
and they're
great.
Still out on the road.
They're playing stadiums, like ballparks. They got to be doing something, right? I mean, I see them being like the band that's going to be talked about 20 years from now. If there were people who were going to talk about punk rock, they're going to talk about Green Day, which is kind of sad. But, like down at the bar again, I try to talk about punk rock to these kids and they never even heard of some of these bands. They were like, oh, you ever hear? They said to me, Bruce, you ever hear The Clash? Yes, kid. I heard of The Clash. It's pretty funny. Like I guess were we the same way, like being like that age and we thought we knew everything and it was new to us, so it was new to everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm a kid and I come across that and I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome, I got to tell everybody about it.
Yeah,
I was like, that's kind of a cool moment. Like, like my daughter's had moments where she listens to, some song that she's been like, oh my gosh, do you know this? And I'm like I'm happy to see her experiencing what I went through hearing this.
Yeah.
Like those moments where, like, I totally remember walking into a music store and they were playing something from Social Distortion. It was from White Light, White Heat, White Trash. I remember stopping, just going, what is this? And just asking somebody working there, like, what is this? I need to have it.
Yeah.
Like, just
I've
the
had
way
so many times. Yeah.
Like, and that's like one of the greatest moments of music when you're just like, fuck, what it did. Awesome. I love it. And I've had a couple moments over, like, doing the show where there's something that we talk about. And I'm like, dude, this is great. And I have never heard of this before.
It's one of the things what I miss about the record store. You're in the store and you hear the overhead, and that's how I always found new shit. Like I remember hearing Teen Spirit in my local record store before it hit big, and I remember seeing the advertisement for it and everything like that. But that's like when rock and roll needed something new, is when like Nirvana came through. Like rock and roll was pretty stale then. With like we were coming out of the hair band thing, and rock and roll didn't have an identity yet, really, And Nirvana was the perfect thing to come along and stir things up.
Something I read this week said that rock and roll has had a couple opportunities and they always shit the bed and burn out quickly. And I never really thought of this. It was like you had the early 50s, right? So everybody was like, oh my God, what is this? And then like Buddy Holly dies and you've got, all the Altamont and all that other, the day the music died. Then you had like Woodstock, and then you go through like the early 70s of all the, ABBA and disco, and it kind of fades away. The 80s, you got some stuff is cool, but you've also got the hair bands. You know, it kind of becomes a joke, and then it peaks real quick with grunge, and then it's kind of gone quiet again. So it's like they've had these couple moments where it's like it's really important and everybody captures the world, and then it just kind of fades away.
I think what they called new metal was around for a good, like Korn and Limp Bizkit.
Yeah,
that was like that's what I remember.
Yeah, and it was like that was kind of the late '90s, early 2000s. You know, we were both wrapping up our time spending in the music store, and yeah, that's where I think a lot of that music was just shit. But
I agree. I really like Korn, but you know.
Yeah, you said that last episode. Another thing I read, it said like, and it's kind of weird that, suddenly, like old rock and roll albums suddenly become popular again because, somebody dies, right? Somebody in the band passes away and they become really popular. They're all over the radio. Or it's like nostalgia, like this article, I think it was from Vice, was talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack was like huge on the rock charts because he tooled around on the cassette tape with all that old music. And that's a great
soundtrack.
It is. Yeah, but it was kind of being like, it took that kind of like tongue in cheek that the dude's kind of being a nerd a little bit about his music to get it back in front of people.
I think it's like his guilty pleasure, you know? Yeah. Like it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I love those movies.
I do too. Yeah. Another thing that I was thinking when I was putting the notes together was like, the stadium tour, the stadium circuit is full of all these old rock and roll guys, right? They're the ones that selling out the big stadiums. And most of them now, like, they're in their 70s. What happens in 10 years when, like, the Stones and Springsteen and the Who and Roger Waters, they're all going to be dead.
They're all going to be gone soon.
What is going to happen to Springsteen will live forever and Keith Richards will live forever. But like, what happens, man, when those guys are gone?
I don't know. It's something in the future I don't want to know. I think rock and roll is in dire straits now. Like, maybe I'm out of touch. I don't know. But like, what I see around and what is considered rock and roll now from just the list that we put together and everything, there's a handful of bands on there. But then the other shit I just don't get.
Yeah, so I tried to as I was putting the list together, I tried to go into it with a really, really open mind. Because when I first started listening to it, I'm like, this sucks. And I'm like, I don't want to be just like the cranky 46-year-old dude who's just like, you goddamn kids don't know what you're talking about. I tried to really approach it with an open mind. And there are a couple things on here that I was like, oh, you know what, man? I actually really enjoyed this. I like this. And there's some stuff and I'm like, I know this is really popular. I don't get it. I just, you know.
Is there a song you think right now that represents rock and roll?
Yes. So the one coming out of order a little bit here, but yeah, you know what? The one band that I thought was on this playlist that we put together that was just kind of straight rock and roll was Mammoth WVH. Wolfgang Van Halen. Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought that was the closest to just a rock and roll sound.
Yeah, he is very rock and roll sound. Yeah. He's like carrying the torch.
Yeah.
Not of his father. I don't think he's carrying the torch of his father. I think he's carrying the torch of rock and roll. I mean, Dave Grohl is definitely the number one supporter of rock and roll kind of thing. But here's Wolfgang. He's, I don't know if he's even 30 yet. And he won the Grammy last year for best rock and roll album was the Mammoth album.
Here, we've been talking for a couple minutes. Here's Epiphany from Mammoth WVH. Here's Epiphany from Mammoth WVH. I really like that, man. And
I like it.
I'm trying to separate it from, I'm going to listen to something from Eddie Van Halen's kid. Because that's not fair.
I'm totally separating it right now. I'm like thinking in my head, what if this wasn't Woofy? If this was another band? I question myself, would it anybody care to start out with? Or, if his image was different, he'd be a lot bigger. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems
it's almost like he's buckling under the weight of like, because you're inevitably going to judge him against him, right? And all the Beatles kids, they like all of those guys went through that too, or Bonham's kid, or any of those people.
I mean, I think there's a lot of pressure on Woofy. There's definitely going to be some kind of Eddie Van Halen tribute tour. It's going to happen, and he's the final say of everything. Just seeing him at the Taylor Hawkins concert to rip his dad's songs so naturally, it was awesome. It was great. He's a great face for rock and roll.
Yeah, but, I agree.
I've seen him in concert open up for Guns N' Roses, and I had to question myself: would anybody care if it wasn't Eddie's kid? Would they even be up there? I had a hard time with myself because I found their show a little boring.
Really?
Yeah, I found it boring.
Okay.
I mean, it was fun for like the first like 3 or 4 songs, and then it just got repetitious, and it was just
okay.
I don't know.
And I tried to approach all this stuff thinking like, what would younger me, would I enjoy it, if I was 25? Because some of this stuff, they're just singing about like, subjects that I'm just not, hey kids, we're doing this, or, like the rebellious kind of shit. And I'm like, I'm just not at that stage of my life anymore. Okay.
There's one thing. Where does your notes start, Bruce?
My notes started with, so Mammoth was pretty high up, but I was saying like just to kind of maybe, I don't know, bands that are popular or shit like that. I put the Foo Fighters on here. I don't know if we need to play shit from them. I'd rather hear
examples of what is considered rock and roll now. Like, let me hear something from that Machine Gun Kelly. I know none of his music. I just know him being Tommy Lee in that movie.
Okay. All right. So let's just get out of the way that then kind of like the Foo Fighters, the Chili Peppers, Green Day, Jack White. There's kind of those guys that have been around for a long time. They're still making music. I like every one of those groups. So cool. We're just acknowledging that they're here and they're making music and we're going to move on. Okay, cool. All right. So comic book guy doesn't write us in. So Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly is a dude that I played, I don't know, like somebody, I just read somewhere that he's popular. One day I was doing something over the summer and I just put it on my phone and I was kind of digging it. I was like, all right, I like this. Here's a little bit. This is, my ex's best friend.
Going home when she asks me, is it wrong if I come up with you? We're both drunk on the elevator when I kiss you for the first time in New York City. I swear to God, I never fall in love. Then you showed up and I can't get enough of it. I swear to God, I never fall in love. I never fall in love, but I can't get enough of it. First off, I'm not sorry. I won't apologize to nobody.
God, it's awful.
I really like that.
Really?
Yeah, I think it kind of straddles, like it's got a little bit of hip hop to it and a little bit of rock and roll.
It has too much going on, man. There's too much to offer. There's too much offering going on. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's I can't concentrate on it at all. The only thing I can concentrate on is the auto tune. It's so fucking clear as day. I can't get past it, and it's just, oh God, where would these bands be without auto tune? Where would what's that other kid's name? We'll talk about him probably. That Post Malone guy.
Yeah, I don't have him on here, but
dude, like this, there are nothing without auto tune. And
that one fucking Cher song, man, in the late '90s, just started. It was like the first one to have auto tune.
It seems like Machine Gun Kelly is a rock star / celebrity. Like, does anybody give a fuck about his music, or does they only care about who he's with at the moment? Like, it's
Okay. We have completely different opinions of this one. This is cool. That's fine. I liked it. I remember when I was listening to it in the garage, I remember when my son walked outside and he was like, "You listening to Machine Gun Kelly?" Like he was shocked that I was listening to it. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of digging this."
It reminds me of Justin Bieber, bro.
See, I thought it was more like some of his stuff. It reminded me more like new metal-y kind of stuff, just a beat to it.
From that song, the example that you played for me, it sounds like a boy band.
Okay. That was the top streaming rock and roll song of 2021.
That's fucking
according
unreal.
to Billboard. So,
I'm too
man,
old.
It's all good, man. That's why we're doing this. So, you know,
I just, you know, I guess there's a whole young crowd out there that digs this motherfucker. You know, I don't get it.
All right. Well, dude, I love that we just had completely different opinions of it. So, because there's so much music that we both are just like,
you're going to see him in the fucking Super Bowl this year.
I thought you were going to say you're going to see him in the electric chair in an hour and a half. All right. I'm going to keep rolling. So here's another band to my son, my youngest. So I asked all three of my kids, what do they listen to? And I also I messaged a friend of mine, Dan, in Boston, who goes to a ton of rock and roll shows, but he's into more like indie rock. So I was picking all their brains. I was like, what do you listen to? And my youngest, who's 14, he loves the band Imagine Dragons. I mean, he's been like, if I have a wish to go see somebody in tour, that's who he wants to go see.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, and I told him, I was like, yeah, dude, they're probably going to like, he likes almost all the music we send to the electric chair. Like to the point that like if I'm driving him somewhere, he asks me to put on the show and forward to the electric chair, and he's like, "No, I love that song."
Sorry, little dude.
So he really really likes Imagine Dragons, and I'm also kind of like, to me, they're kind of like
they've been around for a while. They've been around for like 10 years.
Coldplay on Red Bull or something. I don't know. Yeah, they've been around for a while. They're huge, man. They sell a lot of albums.
Yeah, they're huge. Can we play something by them?
Yeah, this is Believer. This is one of their more popular songs.
Okay.
I'm the master of my CEO. Ooh, the master of my CEO. Ooh. I was broken from a young age, taking my soak into the masses, writing my poems for the few that look at me, took to me, shook at me, feeling me, singing from heartache, from the pain, taking my message from the veins, speaking my lesson from the brain, seeing the beauty through the. Hey, you made me a believer.
I think Maroon 5 has a lot to do with the sound of these rock and roll bands that are coming out. Like that sounds like Maroon 5 to me. We have them to blame for all this shit, man.
It's
like it's fashion rock. It's like fashion rock.
It's there sounds a little bigger than Maroon 5. It just got a fuller sound to it, but I see what you're saying, man. Yeah, it's like if Coldplay had a little bit more balls to them. You know, it's like a little bit more, like Coldplay's got a very thin kind of sound. There's nothing, like, I don't hate it. I'm just kind of like, I'm not the audience that they're going after. They're going after somebody my kid's age. They're not going after 46-year-old, dude who grew up on Zeppelin.
Yeah. I mean, but like, again, like, maybe we weren't planning on talking about like Maroon 5, but they're like, a level of somewhere someone wants to be.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't have them on the list.
We didn't have them. They're like and they're a rock and roll band, right? And
they're another band that's been around for 25 years already. Like they've been around for a while.
They remind me of Sugar Ray.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Sugar Ray though we're getting off topic, but they were really, really heavy. And then they made that one song.
Yeah.
And they completely changed their image, which I totally get, man. Dude, if you're trying something and it's not working and you hit gold, you cash in with that. You know, people called them sellouts. I was like, they're not sellouts. They're smart.
No, absolutely. In this business, fuck yeah, man. Sure. You got to jump on the gravy train whatever, you know, any angle you can get.
Right.
But that's off topic.
Yeah. Yeah. We could talk about them.
But Maroon 5, weren't they the Super Bowl halftime show?
Yeah, and he was taking his shirt off, and
we can't get Bon Jovi up there, but we got him. What the fuck? We can't get Metallica up there.
Did you read all that stuff with him too? Like,
no.
He was cheating on his wife and he was texting a girl. He was like, I'm going to name my kid with my wife's pregnant and I'm going to name the kid after you. Kind of like he was real, let's hear.
Scumbag.
Well, he's not a scumbag. He's a shitbag.
Shitbag of the week.
Shitbag of the week.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes. What's his name? Adam
Levine. Adam
Levine. I don't know.
Adam Lambert was a guy sang with Queen.
Yeah, I'll take that kid over him any day. The thing that I'm ashamed about this dude from Maroon 5 is that he's a huge Fish fan.
Is he?
Yeah, dude. He's so fucking lame with his like tattoos that he has.
Somebody said he looked like a Chipotle takeout bag when they draw all over it.
He looks like a Gap ad.
Imagine Dragons was also Billboard's top rock artist of the 2010s. That was like the last like big age group I could find of artists, and they were the biggest. So
I guess so. I've definitely heard of them, and I know their stage shows are huge. And
yeah,
I hear they're awesome.
They come around, man. I'll take my kid. If my kid feels that strongly about it, I was like, dude, I'll take you.
I hear their live shows are fucking great.
Yeah, I was like, if you feel that strongly about it, man, I tell them all the time. I was like, you like what you like, and just because I'm making fun of it doesn't mean I don't respect that you like it. I'll never knock on you. I'll never dunk on you for liking something. So
we're just gonna wait 20 years later until you realize it sucks.
Right. All right. Here's a song. This is a band called Mainskin. And it's a song called Beggin' that I don't remember what the fuck I was looking at that I found this band. I was looking all over the place for artists and I didn't forget where they came from. But I really like this song and it reminded me a lot of, the band Live from Mental Jewelry. They're like they're an Italian glam band with some funk sound to it. I'll play a little bit of it. I really like this.
Okay.
I'm begging. I'm begging you to put your loving hand out, baby. I'm begging you to put your loving hand out, darling. Riding high when I was king, I played it hard and fast, tried everything. I walked away. You want me to?
I was digging it.
That's fucking rocking, dude.
I liked it, man. It was like, it's not real heavy, but it was
What's the name of the band?
Mainskin. Like
great fucking
M-A with like
sound.
a thing over it. Neskin. Yeah, they said they're Italian. And I was like, whoa, shit, man. It totally sounded like some, like early 1990s. That was one of the bands I'm like, all right, man, I'll check out the rest of their stuff. I'm in.
I'll definitely check out the rest of their stuff.
Yeah.
Their sound is fucking great.
Yeah, it was cool. All right. Well, there's something we agreed on that we both liked.
Yeah, I definitely think they're keeping it alive. I'm going to check out a couple more of their songs.
Yeah, and they said, I like that they were described as a glam band. I'm like, there's not many of those still around. Like, I don't have like Steel Panther on the list, but they're still,
No, but they may like say glam in the way like of the New York Dolls was of like Johnny Thunders.
Yeah.
That kind of, not like CC DeVille glam.
Right. Like Bowie glam.
Yeah, glitter.
I'm not comparing them. Right. I'm not comparing them to Bowie. It's just, people, before somebody writes in. Who else did I have in this top tier? The band Ghost. I know you don't like them. We talked about them a little bit in the Shock Rock episode.
I'm just not impressed. I've seen them in concert. I gave them a shot and I think they're overrated.
Who did you see them open for?
Iron Maiden.
So if I went to that, and I told this story in the Shock Rock episode, if I walked in, I knew the name, I saw the what they looked like, and I thought it was going to be heavy as shit. And when I heard it, I was like, whoa, this is not, it sounds more like that song we just played.
That's how I felt. I felt like this is what's representing metal right now. Everybody keeps on telling me about this Ghost thing. And he comes out and he fucking sounds like the guy from The Killers.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Which is another band I should have had on this list, The Killers.
They're all right.
A modern. Yeah, they're okay. They're okay. But like a modern kind of arena rock sound.
But but that's what like ghosts sound like to me when he came out singing.
Yeah.
Like they had like a melatonin kind of sound, like very cool. But then I'm waiting for some fucking metal fucking come out, and again I hear some kind of fucking Justin Bieber fucking sound come out of the guy.
So they're kind of victim then of their own marketing, that the hype has gotten so big.
Oh
that
yeah,
you expect. Like, I was thinking this Pantera Slayer kind of thing. And then I was like, oh, this is just like hooky, poppy kind of shit. Here, I'll play something from one of their newer albums. This is called Spillways.
Through benediction, you try to rid your mind of malediction. But through all this time, you try to peel it off, and it's such a ride. Your desolation led you into this vile incarnation of consummated bliss. I know you need it now to make you feel alive.
It's got, the bass has got that real, like,
Yeah, it's
twangy sound.
crunchy.
Like an Anthrax kind of bass
right.
sound.
No, it's driven. Like the song
Yeah.
has a driven thing. But then, like, what's up with that falsetto part that is
Yeah.
down there?
And there's a
So
lot of,
weird.
there was just a lot of, like, church imagery in those lyrics, like, talking about, like,
Yeah,
benediction and
that's his
stuff.
whole.
Yeah.
That's his whole gig. He gets dressed up as a priest or whatever
Yeah.
he does.
It's almost like they're trying too hard. You
But
know, like
that's how
they're
I
playing-
always felt. That's how I always felt about them. Like, wow, they're really trying too hard.
Okay.
Like I always felt like Slipknot was trying too hard,
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this band is just not as good as a band as Slipknot is to start out with. But like they're a fucking gimmick.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
I
Ghost
don't,
is just a gimmick.
I don't like Slipknot. It's too heavy for my taste. And these guys, I don't know. I like their music. I agree that I think they're trying too hard. If they were coming, I'd go see them just for whatever the spectacle is going to be.
I was really disappointed.
Okay.
I went and said, let me go look at the merchandise while this band's playing. I was so disappointed. Everybody, I'm like, all right, here comes this band. It's going to
Yeah,
be
you said
the
that before.
savior
and you
of
went and
rock
looked
and
at the
roll.
merch.
Here's the savior of rock and roll, and it's dude going falsetto, like not
Okay.
even cool falsetto.
Right, like
Just-
King Diamond falsetto.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Do you like the band Muse? Do you know them at all?
Yeah, I like them.
They're okay.
I think they're rocking.
they play, they've been around for a while, and they play some really big, like, they played, like, the Wells Fargo Center here, like, where the
Oh,
Flyers
sure.
and the Sixers play.
Sure.
And I couldn't get tickets. The last time they came around, it was sold out. And I was
Yeah,
like, man,
they're big.
I like them. I just
I had
didn't
their
expect them to. No, go
I
ahead.
had their very first album when it first came out.
Yeah, it was good. It's
Yeah.
like, it's a little electronic, but it's also pretty rocking.
Yeah.
And they've got another album out. We'll play a little bit of that. Here you go. This is, You Make Me, what song is this? All right. You Make Me Feel Like It's Halloween.
The poison, are you the cure? I'm not so sure. I'm shackled. There is no way out. I can't escape. When you turn out the lights, you make me feel like it's Halloween. It's Halloween. When you smoke on the house, you make me feel like it's Halloween. It's Halloween. You cut me off from the friends.
That was Muse.
Yeah.
Wow, something totally different sounding than the rest of their stuff that I've heard. That was really weird. I don't think I liked that.
Yeah. I don't know if that was,
It sounded like it should have been a Nightmare Before Christmas.
yeah. And there might have been, you know what I mean? Like a lot of this stuff, I went to their newest album and then pulled up what is one of their best, most popular songs.
Right.
So maybe because it was also Halloween, that song was called Halloween, that maybe that was really big.
Who knows? I mean, they have a bunch of songs I do like, but they're like a new product of new wave.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like they're more new wave than they are rock and roll.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm not going to keep score all this shit because I'd have to run the computer and write things down at the same time. It was a nice idea. And I'm like, oh, I should keep track. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Something else you got to do.
Yeah. That's a good point, man, that they are kind of like modern new wave kind of music. That's kind of their sound. That's a good point. All right. What else I got? All right. So I also at one point I went into Rolling Stone and I pulled up the list of the top albums of the year so far, and it ranked them by like the score that they got.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, it has like, it'll say like Lizzo, and then next to it'll have like a genre, like hip hop or whatever. So I just typed in the word rock, and the highest ranked band, or the band that, is classified as alternative rock with the highest score is a band called Willow. And I was like, okay, cool. And I put it on the list, and I went back today and I was listening to it and I was kind of figuring out who it is. Let me play the song first.
Okay.
This is Will Smith's kid, Willow. Yeah, right. What you just did with your face is, yeah.
Wait a minute, I think I left my conscience on your front doorstep.
This is best rock song.
Alternative rock album.
I think I left my
What the fuck is she? Is it? I don't know. Is it a female, male?
So Willow Smith is Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith's daughter. She had that
Okay, it's her
Whip My
daughter.
Hair song like 15 years ago.
Oh, is this is the
Yeah.
same one? Oh, wow.
And so she's in a band, and this was, for some reason, Rolling Stone classifies this as alternative rock music.
Let me
And
hear
this was
what
the
it is.
highest.
It's awful.
I don't think, it's probably not bad, but when I step into it saying, okay, cool, this is alternative rock, and this is what I hear, I'm kind of like, what? This isn't alternative rock.
Do you remember when Jada Smith had a metal band?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, hang on, let me pause this. Let's turn this off. We're talking about, dude, we have to at some point do a show on when celebrities make
Bad music.
make albums, like the Bruce Willis and all that, all those celebrities that came out with band, like Steven Seagal has a fucking album out, all that stuff.
Oh,
Dude, would be
man.
great. I forgot when she was in that metal band.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah, so that's her kid. And,
it sucks.
yeah, I was like, if it
I'm
was
trying to be positive about like what's coming up, but that alternative, like
right,
alternative to me is the Cure.
right. If it was on like
9 Inch
when I was,
Nails.
if it comes on when I'm like in the mall or I'm like, I don't know, like I'm waiting to get a massage or something like that. It's that kind of music. It's just background shit. It's nothing.
It
that
sounds
I'm
like a song that should be in a sneaker
right.
commercial.
If you go into fucking Old Navy and it's playing or something.
That's what it sounds like an Old Navy commercial.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. No good. The band The Hold Steady. I don't even remember why the hell I put them in this top.
I never heard of them.
Oh yeah, so The Hold Steady is like a alternative rock band. I've heard of them a couple times, but I also am a little biased because one of the things where, Springsteen does that radio show on his own
Right.
channel and he talks about like shit that he listens to all the time. And he mentioned this as a band that he really liked, and I checked it out and I really dug it. So here's,
Yeah.
this is a song called Sequestered in Memphis by The Hold Steady.
It started when we were dancing. It got heavy when we got to the bathroom. We didn't go back to her place. We went to some place where she can't sit. She said, I know I look tired, but everything's fried here in Memphis.
I like that. I think it's rock and roll. It's got some organ in there.
It reminds me of the Counting Crows.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
His voice is a little deeper, a little fuller.
It's a different kind of sound, and it's just like sounds like a poet more than a songwriter.
Yeah, it doesn't have that real thin, there's no autotune on it. It's not overproduced
No, it's
kind of
yeah,
shit. It's
yeah.
just like
It definitely sounds like something an older man would think is still rocking.
which is why I like it.
Yeah, like you're always going to be older than me, so just point that out.
Thank you. Yeah, man, I dig it. And, you know, a lot of the stuff that, you know, as much as I'm a huge Springsteen fan, a lot of the stuff that he mentions on that show that he listens to, I was like, all right, man, you're that guy who's just bragging about all the obscure shit you listen to, because some of it's just like, it's just not good. You just think you're smarter than everybody else, and I'm sure you are. But that was a band that I was like, all right, man, I really dig it. I liked it.
No, it was cool. Yeah, very earthy sound.
Yeah, earthy's that's a good point. All right. I have the next category that's called boring shit that all sounds the same. And so I had a whole handful of groups in here. So here, there's a band called The Neighborhood that, I guess they were popular. I really wish I would have written down where I found all these names. Do
they go on tour with The Weeknd?
No, they're actually they're on tour with a band called the Marias. And the, one dude in the band actually just got thrown out for sexually assaulting the singer for the band the Marias backstage at a show.
Oh, wow.
So they're kind of like, they're also, you know, that guy.
Oh, hey.
Bag of the week.
No, this did absolutely nothing for, you know, I'll stop interjecting my opinions here. This is called Sweater Weather.
I want the world in my hands. I hate the beach, but I stand in California with my toes in the sand. Use the sleeves of my sweater. Let's have an adventure. Head in the clouds, but my gravity centered. Touch my neck, and I'll touch yours. You and those little high-waisted shorts. Oh, she knows what I think about, and what I think about. What love to
And that's on like a rock and roll list.
Yeah. Okay.
So bizarre.
So that sound with like it's got a little bit of a drum machine behind it, and it's got a shit ton of reverb on the vocals.
Yeah.
That is, so wait, here's Skin and Bones by Cage the Elephant. They're really popular.
I know who they are.
Yeah, we trashed them in another episode, but.
close my eyes and drift into the silence. Barely see the ultraviolet. Slipped and fell into the deep end. All the sidewalks shimmer just like diamonds.
Sounds like Everlast.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know?
It's the same, like, there's a drum machine and there's a ton of reverb. I have some more examples of this. So here, Arcade Fire. This is the Lightning 2.
I like it.
It's okay.
I like that.
It's
I like them. They've been around for a long time.
You like the
They've been
Arcade
around
Fire?
for like 20 years.
Yeah. It feels like almost like when they're producing it, like the top and the bottom is just lopped off and it's real.
Yeah. I think that's the sound. That's how records are supposed to sound now, because people listen through those shitty fucking little earbud things.
Dude, you've been an insightful motherfucker today. Like that's
I'm here to talk.
That's, you're right, man. Like we're saying that, you know, the music reflects the times and everything sounds so clean. Like you just don't hear a lot of dirty, like that blues guy I sent you today. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Like when something sounds dirty now, 'cause you're like, oh my God, it's so like you're used to that. It's so in the middle of the meter. I have like 20 other bands that all sound like, the band Soccer Mommy. Somebody told me to really listen to.
Put that on.
All right, here you go.
I don't wanna be a fucking dog that you drag around to collar on my neck, tied to a pole. Leave me in the
like if I went out somewhere and I had to listen to that live, I would get angry.
What's the name of that band?
Soccer Mommy?
Soccer Mommy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's like, it's just,
I
indie.
didn't hate it. It definitely has some kind of Cure sound to it.
And I fucking hate The Cure. So I think that's part of my problem is, that like a lot of this indie music has got that same kind of vibe to it. Like they used to call it like shoegazer music, right? That you put your head down and you would stare at it. And I find that stuff just fucking annoys me.
Yeah.
And
I can see why. I could see why. It's very, very downer. It's a Debbie Downer song. It sounds like it.
Yeah. And it's like a lot of the stuff now, it's like I'm at the point in my life where when I'm doing research for the show, I'm sitting at my desk and I'm working, and
Right.
I put the music on and I'm, there's some stuff when I sit down, I very consciously, I put the headphones on and I'm not doing anything else and I listen, but there's some shit I'm like, I'm just doing other stuff. And I said this about the Clash when we were doing the thing on London Calling. There was like one song that was real kind of like mellow. And I was like, and I told you, like, I just got so angry and I was like, I got shit to do. I can't even listen to this. And you were even like, we don't have to talk about it in the show. And I was like, no. Like, and I find some of this music is the same way, that it just kind of like, whatever mode I'm in, and I'm like, I just got to get shit done for work. And it's just annoying me.
But this kind of shit, rock and roll, like we've been listening to, it's like easy listening compared to what rock and roll we grew up on.
It definitely doesn't have that edge.
There's no edge to it.
Yeah.
There's no to it.
Right. And again, I think the edge is also knocked off in the production where they're cutting off that,
everything sounds
the
so
drums are in a real, like there's no, the different pitch and different types of drums. It's all just like kind of like chopped off, and it's very
thin.
narrow sounding thin. Yeah.
I'm with you, Bruce. I'm with you.
I had one other, this is a band called the Fontaines DC. And this is the song called Jackie Down the Line.
In the morning, when I can't see those failing eyes, I can't find a good word for you. Does it come as a surprise? I don't think we'd rhyme. I will wear you down in time. I will hurt you, I'll desert you. I am Jackie down the line.
I wrote
that. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wrote Shitty Morrissey next to my notes.
Yeah, I heard Oasis. That Roy.
Yeah.
Roy.
But there's a lot of these songs, there's no chorus either. They just
sound like they sound like they're on the fucking chorus line for Oliver.
Yeah. Yes, they do. Yeah, all that stuff. So that ends my boring shit that all sounds the same category. And I'm like, it's largely boring and it sounds the same. Like,
it does, yeah.
Arcade Fire, I do like them.
Yeah.
And I put them in there maybe a little tongue in cheek. But some of this other shit, I was like, none of that does anything for me.
There's no edge to it. There's no danger.
Right.
There's nothing. Everything's so fucking safe with this auto tune, man. Everybody's playing the safe. Nobody wants to be like experimental, like how Guns N' Roses was. Like, let me screech the highest I can in this fucking microphone and make it sound as metal as I can. Now it's like, let's make it sound clean and safe.
Some of that, we did the blues episode. We were talking about the guys putting like a fucking switchblade over the guitar strings to make a sound, right? Like that danger.
Yeah. There's no aggression to it. I feel like there's no passion to it. And I think that's a big thing that rock and roll is based around, is passion.
I almost feel like I don't know if we could do a whole episode on this, but like, why auto-tune was the fucking dagger in the heart of modern music. It's like we played it like, I don't know, like Jay-Z has a song about like how auto-tune killed music.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I gotta listen to that.
But it's just, yeah, dude, it's no good.
Auto-tune is the worst thing that ever happened to music next to electric drums.
Yeah, the drum machine.
Like, that whole, I'm not electric drums, but the drum machine per se.
Yeah, because it just sounds inauthentic. It just sounds shitty.
Remember all those albums that they put like electronic drums to back in the day?
Prodigy and all that other garbage that came out in like
Yeah.
the late 90s.
Remember all how that DJ shit was big?
Yep.
Like in the 90s, like That Boy Slim.
Mm-hmm. All right. I have the next category. Maybe we'll do one more category and we can take a break. I called it loud shit that all sounds the same. So there's like a lane of modern music, like, heavier stuff that, and I don't quite I can't figure out what it is about them, but it all has the same, I think it's the drums.
Okay.
It all sounds the same. So, first I have a song by a band called AJR called Bang that, again, my youngest really, he was playing it every time I got in the car with him this week. He was like, let me play this so you can talk about it on your show.
All right.
And be like, okay. I'll save my judgment.
Hell of a ride, but I'm way too old to try. So whatever, come hang. Let's go out with a bang. Feel like I'm gonna puke, cause my taxes are due. Do my password begin with a 1 or a 2? Been a hell of a ride, but I'm thinking it's time to grow.
Metronome.
Man, I'm up to something. Ooh-dee-la-dee-do, thank you all for coming. I hope you like the show, cause it's on a budget. So ooh-dee-la-dee-do, yeah. Come on, here we go, yeah. Come on.
Here we go.
So put your best face on, everybody pretend you know this song. Everybody come hang. Let's go out with a bang.
So I should have had that. I should have had that in the category with Imagine Dragons. Because to me, I'm like, that's the same thing.
The whole song part of it sound like an Eminem song to me.
Yeah.
Like it bounced.
Yeah.
Like to a point, but then like the guys, is he singing? Is he rapping?
Yeah.
I know that the auto-tune's all over that fucking shit.
Yeah.
I can't help but hear it. It sounds like a fucking, like a drag.
Yeah. I had that in the wrong category. I should have played that right after Imagine Dragons, because that's like Imagine Dragons with like a bigger bass sound.
Yeah.
All right,
What's the name of that band?
AJR.
Yeah. Well, you could tell your son that they suck.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell him that Uncle
Maybe
Ryan.
I'll cut that little piece out. I'd go get him right now. He's downstairs. All right. All Time Low. This is a song called Monsters.
Another day, another headache in this hangover hotel. Getting used to the rhythm. Yeah, I know this beat too well. Tunnel visions got me feeling like you're the only one I see. But I know what's missing when I'm swimming in my lonely luxury. I'm wondering why do all the monsters come out at night? Why do we sleep when we want to hide? Why do I run back to you like I don't mind if you fuck up my life?
It's too dance. There's too much dance to it, dude, for be rock and roll.
There's something with the voice, like, I don't know if it's the tone at which he's singing, but there's like a lot of bands that sound exactly like that to me.
I thought he sounded like that Jared Leto band, whatever the hell they're called. Mission to Mars or 80
5 Seconds of Mars.
whatever the fuck they're called.
I have to look that up.
That's what they remind me of. We could talk about them being a newer band.
30 Seconds of Mars.
Yeah. I mean,
Friend of mine from high school was the bass player in that band.
I remember you
Yeah.
saying that with Jordan Catalano
Yeah.
from My
Yeah.
So-Called Life.
Yeah. Matt Wachter was the bass player. But
That's
yeah,
very
dude,
cool.
here's Rise Against. I think Rise Against sounds a lot like the band we just played. I like Rise Against, but
Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
It sounds kind of like the same shit.
Let's hear it.
All the walls will come down, all the doors will open, all the roads will lead home. But right now, we're spiraling down, and the longer we wait, the further we go. I know we're slipping through the cracks now, no place left on your map now to go home. We are the newer generation. We are the kids that no one wants. We are incredible threat to the
Nope.
No, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, Bruce. I'm trying not to hate on that shit. Ugh. Man,
I feel like
I don't know what I think about that.
I feel like the drums are in a really narrow like channel. I'm not a producer, so I can't figure out like the instruments they're like they should be more like there should be more going on. There should be louder.
See, I feel like there's too much fucking going on. Like, how can I explain?
I know I think I know what you're trying to say, but it's like it's more compressed. It's like on top of each other more. Like,
that's just saying that's another topic that I'm trying to. Yeah, it's very compressed. Everything.
There's something with the engineering behind it. That, like if you just let that go, and if it was like a wider sound and all over the place, it might sound.
It's like a program. It's like a certain program. I'm like I think I nailed it tonight. They're targeting to make music sound good on those little iPod
dude.
things.
And you said that, and I was like, that's brilliant. And we just moved on. I'm glad you said it again because. How many episodes almost every episode, especially with this older music, we're like, dude, put the headphones on. I'm wearing a $50 pair of headphones. Like, you don't need you don't need Bose or Beats, something kind of decent. And you hear so much cool shit. And I'm not hearing any of that. What we're playing right now. Right. Not in the head.
When they make these albums, they have to have that in their mind. Like people are going to listen to this on these ear pods mostly, or whatever version they have. Like nobody wants to carry around the big headphones Beats anymore or anything like that. Everybody just wants to hear things on their ear pods. That's all people have time for.
And also, I think it's also the medium by which you're listening to it, right? Everything is streaming. Like I found something today. They said that, only 10% of music now, like the sales are like people buy CDs. So the digital shit is like, it's a lower quality sound. So it's got to be.
Totally.
It's got to be in a more narrow lane.
Okay.
We just fucking solved it all.
Hey,
you
heard it here first.
Between the audio quality of what's coming out of your computer and the device that you're listening to it, it's just shitty. So they're they're tailoring it to sound good in that medium.
Wow. I think we're on to something, Bruce.
That's a fucking second level insight right there. No, dude, I really do. I think you're right. It's just, it's catering to how it's being listened to.
It's like, I don't know. I think we should take a little break and move on to like some of the
heavier stuff, some heavier stuff
that's out. Yeah, man.
All right, man. So we'll take a little break.
Yeah, man. All right. Stick around.
We'll be back. So a good pair of socks are like a tattoo, a psychologist, or a good pair of socks are like a tattoo, a psychologist, or a divorce attorney. Good ones ain't cheap, and cheap ones ain't good. That's why we're so excited that Prisoners of Rock and Roll is sponsored by our friends over at Boldfoot Socks. I love Boldfoot Socks because they're comfortable and they look good. I said on the show a few times that I just like musicians who are just good people, and I feel the same way about companies I do business with. Boldfoot Socks are made in America. They're veteran owned, and they give 5% of all their proceeds to veteran charities. We're both down with that. I post a picture on social media of the pair I'm wearing right now, but it's a little weird of posting pictures of my feet. So instead, you can just go to boldfoot.com after you're done listening to us and check out all the amazing products that they have. And especially with the holidays coming up, they make great gifts. That's boldfoot.com.
Prisoners of Rock and Roll is sponsored by McCusker's Tavern at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia. There's something for everyone on the beer list and the jukebox at McCusker's. It's minutes from the sports stadiums in Philly, making it a great place to stop by for a few drinks before or after a concert or a game. Come see for yourself why everyone from Philadelphia Magazine to Playboy has called it one of the best dive bars in the city. Visit them at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia or on Facebook. That's McCusker's Tavern.
All right, so we're back from the commercial break. Thanks so much for sticking with us. So we're gonna move into some of the heavier stuff that we have on the list. And I got a couple bands on here. The first one and some of them are good, and some of them, we'll hear our opinions. The first one I had was Mastodon. And
love them.
That was a band. Like, you messaged me today, and you were like, "Do you have Mastodon on the fucking list?" Because
they have to be. They're like carrying the torch of what metal was. I don't think there's been a heavier band that's done something like this since the Pantera. I think so.
They're like but they're like progressive a little bit. Like some of they're more like,
they're a little bit, they're a little progressive. Absolutely. They're a little more complicated riffs and
yeah.
more musicianship. Can we play something from them?
Sure. This is Sickle and Peace. This is a song, like, I'm trying to find like somewhat modern songs. Here you go.
I really like them. I really like some progressive rock. I like what they do. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't the heaviest thing that I've heard from them. That was kind of melodic, what we heard, but I've seen them in concert. They opened up for Primus once, and most of the crowd was there for Mastodon. After Mastodon got done playing, everybody kind of left.
So you saw them in Philly?
Yeah, they opened up for Primus.
Yeah, because the Warden and I went to that same show in Asbury Park.
Then you've probably seen Mastodon.
And we missed most of the Mastodon because we were sitting outside the venue drilling beers.
They're a really great.
We were there more to see. We were there more to see Primus.
Sure.
And,
sure.
But I get it that Mastodon is more.
They're fucking
contemporary.
Great. Yeah, I believe that they're carrying the torch. You know, they're like underground. You know, you don't hear them on much, probably on any radio. Maybe you hear them on like Sirius, but on like free radio, I don't think you hear it on MMR or whatever your rock and roll channel is, wherever you come from out there.
What is that, like Octane on Sirius? They play it a little bit.
Yeah.
My buddy Sean from Atlanta, he's written it a couple times. He's really into them. He's a big heavy metal guy. He's been like, oh, dude, they're awesome. So the next band I have on my list is Hailstorm, and I think they get a lot of attention because they have a female singer, and they're pretty heavy. And I think you have some little bit of history with them, right?
Yeah, they're from the tri-state area. Not exactly sure where they're from, but I played with them many times on South Street at a place called Armadillos, or I can't remember, but also played the Dobbs with them. And they were awesome then. You know, she was a superstar right off the bat. Like, I never talked to her or anything like that because she was like she seemed like she was a star then.
I never knew that they were a local. I never knew they were a local band to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? All right, let me play a little bit. This is "Wicked Days" by Hailstorm. I like that. I never really paid attention to them.
No, it's rocking. It's definitely keeping rock alive. Somebody made a comment in the bar. It's like, oh, you can't make it in a rock and roll band anymore unless you have a girl singer.
I don't believe that at all.
I hear it more and more on MMR or my rock channel that you're hearing these newer rock bands that they're pushing, and they all have chick singers, man.
Really?
I don't. It's something I noticed. It was a conversation that I had.
And I'm thinking, like, I don't know, like Evanescence, but they're 20 years old. I don't even know if they're still making music anymore. I mean, she could fucking sing her ass off. I mean, she was she could belt those notes. It was awesome. And Hailstorm is, you know, I I don't have much of an opinion either way. I'm like,
People
kind of
love
cool.
them.
Yeah.
People love them. I know my friends, they fucking travel to see them like when they go on tour.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's kind of weird to hear that you can't make it without a chick singer, because that's also like it's such a male dominated, like genre of music, like heavy
I think
rock.
it used to be. I think women are in charge now, like of the music scene. I don't know. Like, look, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit later about Taylor Swift, what her concert tickets things are, Chicks sell, man.
All right, man. And next I had on the list I had a band called Beartooth that I don't know shit about. My oldest son loves them, and he's gone and seen them at concert a couple times, like by himself with his buddies.
That's cool.
Up on the mountain, I see down below. It's easy to lose yourself, I know. Can't hear what you're shouting, I'm deaf to your show. It's easy to lose your self-control. Everybody gets high, everybody gets low. Life can be such overdose. Up on the mountain, I see down below.
I don't know.
It's okay.
They had me until the fucking chorus came in. They had me like, all right. And then the fucking chorus came in, and it sounded like sunshine coming through a window.
Yeah, there's just something about like the way the drum sounds. Is all this modern music just bugs the shit out of me.
It sounds very tight, like the drums. Like, it reminds me of how the drums used to sound for that band Avenged Centerfold. How their their original drummer.
Yes,
his drums sound the same to me.
Again,
I love that dude.
Again, you're fucking on point. Avenged Centerfold, I didn't put them on here, and I should have. And tight is the sound, because it's like, there's not a lot of highs and lows to it.
Yeah, I think these guys are making albums to make albums to sound good in a car prior to like sounding on headphones, because it sounds big. It sounds really big.
It does, but right. It sounds big without the peaks and valleys of it. And I thought the point of having all the different sized drums would be to get that different sound out of it.
Yeah. I mean, the most drum that I picked out through that was the bass drum, like the double bass drum. And I don't know, that's what reminded me of Avenged Centerfold. Because they were dark at first. It was pretty dark, and they had me. And then the chorus came in, and it was like a totally different lame song. They turned into Justin Bieber on me.
So maybe the double bass drum is what I'm hearing. And I'm not a musician, so I'm struggling to try to put it into words like what it means. But have you been hearing a lot of double bass on some of the shit that we've been playing?
No, I haven't. It's like the first.
All right,
it's like the first time I've heard something like a steady double bass.
Okay. All right. So other band, I had Godsmack and Shinedown on here. I don't they've been around for a while. I don't think
Godsmack's been around for fucking 25 years.
Yeah, we were working in a music store, and they were out. And Shinedown is, I like Shinedown a lot. I've seen them a couple times. I think
my friends follow them, like the Grateful Dead.
Really?
Yeah, they fucking love them. They like stalk them and everything, dude.
My daughter and my oldest son, they both really, really like them. I've taken them to see them. Well, I like them too, but I have no gripe against them. But, we've talked about them. They're enough. We don't need to talk about them here. I have a song by a band called Turnstile. They just got nominated for a couple Grammys for like a best heavy metal performance. And, here's a song called Mystery by Turnstile.
And it's been so long, so the mystery gone. And it's been so long, all the mystery. All the mystery. There's a clock in my head, is it wrong, is it right? I know you're scared of running out of time, but I'm attacked too. And it's been so long.
It sounds like they grew up listening to Sum 41.
Yeah.
It's
it didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it's very like overproduced. Very no real fucking thought into it. I don't know, but what the fuck do I know? I just have a podcast.
So they're up for best rock song and some other So that's up for a Grammy for best rock song. Whatever, man. It didn't do shit for me.
No, but this is what rock and roll is now, man. Like, what the hell is this? Ugh.
It had some yelling to it, had a little bit of echo in it. I don't know.
I said, it sounded like they grew up listening to that Sum 41 album and they wrote they made a whole career around it.
So who is like responsible for this? Is it more like, is it the bands or is it like the producers that knowing that where we're going to listen to this shit, right? Because you made a great point about like the headphones and you listen to it in your car and all this shit. Like, are producers driving this shit?
No, it's the fucking
record.
It's the owners of the record industry. It's the bigwigs. They fucking say what's cool, what's not cool. They say how they wanted to make it sound like, maybe they're the ones that are like, hey, people are only listening to music in these headphones now. That's always from get to point A to point B. That's all how they listen to music now.
I mean,
that could be like, a presidential decision,
Right,
I don't know.
Right. Trump fucking ran on that. I'd be all about it. Like, make rock and roll great again. I mean, like, listen to, like, here, let me just try something. Here's 10 seconds of this. I'm going to play just the first 30 seconds of this to prove a point.
Sounds like my refrigerator motor.
Right. So that's the song we just heard. And then listen to the first 30 seconds of this. Look how fucking dangerous that sounds.
Yeah. This is a fucking intro.
Right?
This is an intro.
Right?
I don't know what that...
Everything we just said about the highs and lows getting cut off, like that, none of that is here.
Yeah. This is an intro. Right. Whatever that Atari system sounding...
Right.
Game Boy.
Right. Doesn't sound like an old man. It's like, dude, rock and roll doesn't sound like that anymore.
Doesn't sound dangerous.
No, definitely not, man.
When you have bands come out of retirement that used to be dangerous and now they're old and pretending to be dangerous, there's something wrong.
Sure. Right. You're telling all the 20-year-old kids, you're torn as a 60-year-old man.
And this is what we got.
Right. Much like when we opened the show to Bob Seger, I like that old time rock and roll, right?
Yeah.
We both kind of said at the same time, like, that'd be funny, haha, because we're, middle-aged dudes.
But there was some stuff I like. You got anything?
Yeah, dude, I got some bluesy rock and I got the leftover bin. So the bluesy rock, I got two artists that I want to talk about. And the first one is Gary Clark Jr. This is where the whole idea for this show started. Because a while ago, I stumbled across Gary Clark Jr. and I sent it to you and I was like, dude, this guy is fucking amazing. And I was like, can we do a show on can he save rock and roll? And it kind of became this bigger kind of thing. I love Gary Clark Jr.
Oh yeah. I've known about him for years. Yeah. He's terrific.
Yeah. He's bluesy.
Play something. Yeah. Don't talk about it. Play something.
All right. Low Down Rolling Stone.
Something's going on with me. I'm not who I used to be. No. Reached the point where darkness is
Dude, I love it. I love
I
that
love
song.
it too, but it's a shame that he's so underground. Like he can be the savior of rock and roll if he sells like 800,000 more records.
And he's not the savior of rock and roll because just rock and roll, the music industry is just not paying attention to him anymore.
Nope.
Right?
No.
It's not, it has nothing to do with him being black. Right? I think
No, it has nothing to do with that
right,
whatsoever.
We're fucking past that, but it sure as shit would probably draw more attention if the spotlight was on him, right? I just,
Totally.
Dude, he could
I've seen
sing,
him-
he could play guitar.
Like I've seen him featured in different movies and stuff like that. People know who he is. I think like artist kind of guys or musician snobs like us know who he is. I think he has an underground following. I think he can play bigger venues like the Met in Philadelphia or the Fillmore. I feel like he has a great underground following. I don't hear any kids playing his music. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's not pop music, but rock and roll isn't pop music anymore. Our buddy Lance over at the Yesterday's Concert podcast, did an episode on him, and he said he was disappointing. Said he didn't rip it as much as he expected, but I'm still holding out, man. That Gary Clark Jr. is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of rock and roll.
We'll go see him. He comes around. We'll go check him out.
Let's go. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get our own opinion about it.
Yeah. I had another dude in the bluesy category that I found today, just kind of digging around, and I sent you his guy Cedric Burnside.
Yeah, I dug this.
Is a song called "We Made It," dude. This was great. Here you go.
I done been low and low. I keep my head straight. No matter how low I go. Group up a poor boy. Same chap in the corner you can't buy. I remember the days, y'all.
I don't know where you would ever hear that on the radio, but
Probably WXPN. Do you know WXPN?
Yeah. Kind of XPN
World Cafe. World Cafe. Yeah.
Yeah,
You definitely hear that on there.
people not from Philly. That's kind of like NPR, National Public Radio. It's not NPR. No, it's like a independent. They play like indie music kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They play a lot of Grateful Dead, a lot of Fish, a lot of like alternative things. Like you would hear Morrissey on there, and then the next thing you'd hear is Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
Great channel.
Yeah, I really dug that guy, man. I just stumbled across him today reading about the Grammys, I think. And I just started Googling him like, oh man, this is really, really bitchin'.
Yeah. I listened to him this morning. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool. All right. So I think now I'm down to kind of the odds and ends bin of shit that doesn't fit in any other category. So I got some stuff that, frankly, that I like and that my kids like and some other people have recommended to me. So the first one would be a band called the Happy Fits that my daughter loves. When we took a commercial break, she came running in and was like, you gonna talk about the Happy Fits? So she saw them open for somebody and now she's like, I'm going to go see them all over the place. So, let's hear them. Let's hear. Yeah. So this is a song called Mary.
Mary.
Mary's an animal, as sick as they come. Taste of a cannibal, on top of a tongue. She'll fill you with love and then drink out your blood. She's trying to kill me, but I just want you.
It was okay.
Is that a cello?
It did, yes. Yeah, she said they had a cello.
They have a cello player always in every song?
Yes.
and it's electrified.
Yeah.
What are they called?
The Happy Fits.
Right on, man.
It's different. And
I
the
like
cello,
that.
The cello worked, right? It's like, yeah, it was
Very deep. It's
got
very
my
metal.
attention. Right. And the deep,
Totally.
it has a deepness that you don't hear in a lot of other pop music, right? We keep talking
Not
about
at
how
all.
thin everything is. So I was digging that as much as, I was kind of breaking our stones. Like, oh, okay. Some obscure ass band you're going to see. I dug that. All right. So the rest of these this is all like very personal, like, fuck it. This is stuff that I like. Do you know a band called Lucero?
Nope.
Okay. They're a kind of country punk band. I've seen them open for Social Distortion. They have a new song called One Last FU. Here you go.
Yeah.
Even though the band's still playing, for a graceful exit, ain't no better song. I don't think you get it, mister. Crossing wires, blow transistors. You don't seem to understand at all. I ain't gonna be here very long. One last fuck you, that's it, and I'm gone.
I love his voice.
I love it. What's the name of that?
Lucero. They had a couple songs in the opening of like The Walking Dead for a while.
Okay.
I would say they're the best band nobody's ever heard of. They're like they're a country punk band. He sounds like he just ate a roll of fiberglass insulation. He's just got a cool voice. I like them a lot. All right. What else I got on here? Chuck Reagan. He's kind of been around for a while. He was in a band, Hot Water Music.
Okay.
Kind of a punk band. He's had some solo stuff, and I'm playing this just because it has a very personal connection to me and it's kind of modern. And all right, here you go. This is a song called Something May Catch Fire.
Cool.
Again, I will have you to rest your soul and lighten your load. We can do some damage for the hours handy. Over to us, baby. Shake it up and baby, something may catch fire.
I dig it.
I love that song.
How'd you come across that song?
Dude, that's actually a pretty funny story. So I work with a guy, who is in my company's office in Germany, and he went to college in the United States. And he was over here for a meeting, and he's really into like the Ramones and everything. And I love talking about music. And I'm like, oh, you're German and you like the Ramones? And he's like, yeah, do you know the Chuck Reagan? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he's like, you have to listen to the Chuck Reagan.
Holy shit.
And he heard him like when he was in college in like Wichita, Kansas. He saw him come through on a concert.
Yeah, I mean,
Really cool.
Very
And
cool.
he's in a punk band called Hot Water Music that, is kind of, I don't think they're really around anymore, but
What was the name of the guy that we just heard?
Chuck Reagan.
Chuck Reagan.
Yeah.
Love
he's
it.
He's got like 3 or 4 albums, man. It's really, really cool.
I dig his sound. Right on.
Yeah. You get a little bit of, some orchestral kind of shit going on. So I got 3 more. One was, a girl called Courtney Barnett that a friend of mine, my buddy Dan from Boston, messaged me and said, check this girl out. She's pretty like rock and roll. So I'm going to play this, and if it sucks, we'll just cut it out. This is called Pedestrian at Best.
I'm on the mend, transcending all reality. I like you, despise you, admire you. What are we gonna do when everything all falls through? I must confess I've made a mess of what should be a small success, but I digress. At least I've tried my very best, I guess. This, that, the other. Why even bother? It won't be with me on my deathbed, but I'll still be in your head. Put me on a pedestal, and I'll only disappoint you. Tell me I'm exceptional. I promise to exploit.
I like it.
Yeah, I was digging it.
I like it. I thought it was very like punk,
Yeah, it was-
Susie and the Banshees.
Yeah, it was groovy.
You know,
Yeah, it was groovy.
I like
Okay.
that.
All right. And the last artist I have on the list is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah, I remember the name. I don't.
It's weird as shit. And I had never really listened to him. And I know, again, like our buddy Lance over at the Yesterday's Concert podcast is a really big fan. And I put a little bit of credence in everything that he says. And then a couple of our, being on the podcast, the Pantheon Podcast Network, there's like a Slack channel where people talk about what they're listening to. And this came up and all kinds of people were like, dude, they're great. They're great. They're great. And I was like, I don't get it. And they're like, well, you have to go see him live. And then I heard this one song and I was kind of like, I was feeling a little bit. So they're a jam band. And I asked you, figuring that you would, you probably be more into this kind of shit than me, but
I heard of them, so let me hear them.
Here you go. This is Magenta Mountain.
A little bit too electronic for me.
Yeah, it's really eccentric. I figured you wouldn't. I'd be curious to hear what you thought.
Like, I could see maybe being in the jam band world. There's a electronic jam band called the Disco Biscuits, and maybe they fit in with them. But I don't really like Disco Biscuits, so I don't know. I really didn't like it. I thought it was kind of boring.
Yeah, I've heard that like live they're really good, but I also don't think I could sit through that live.
It's kind of boring, man.
Yeah, it's just not my bag. But
not my bag, baby.
Well, we listened to 30 different artists tonight, and
did we?
We came pretty goddamn close.
Show. Yeah, man.
It was a long show, man. We normally clock in 2 hours. I think we're gonna go over that tonight, but whatever, man. We'll figure it out. We haven't gone over 2 hours in a while. All right, some second thoughts. The only second thoughts, I got a couple second thoughts. It's really very selfish. The first one is we just recorded a spot for the Song Facts Podcast annual Christmas special along with all of our Pantheon friends. So if you're into music, you've probably gone on to songfacts.com just by accident. You're Googling for some shit about what certain songs mean and everything else. But they have a podcast and it's really cool. And they do a Christmas episode every year where they ask all the other shows on Pantheon to contribute. And we're on there. We were on there last year. It was really great to contribute. And we've got our own Christmas special, our third annual. I don't believe I'm fucking saying that.
It's unreal, bro.
The third annual Christmas special is going to be coming out soon. And
is Santa finally going to visit us this year?
I hope so, man.
He skipped over us the last couple.
He took his shit down my chimney the 1 year. So.
Well, you were a bad guy,
I woke up the one morning, dude. No, the last 2 years, I woke up on the Christmas morning and the warden was in my house.
Holy shit!
That's like how bad have I been?
That's like coal in your stocking plus.
Oh, yeah, and second thoughts is if you ever read popmatters.com, they're pretty big, like, online music magazine. I have an upcoming article on Johnny Cash's American 4 album that he did with Rick Rubin. I'm really looking forward to that. I spent the first 20 years of my career as a writer, so it's kind of cool to get the dust that off and write a little bit. It was it was awesome being like, write a 3 to 5 page paper on this album. And it was
I gladly will.
And I'm up to like 6.5 pages and I'm still, I have to submit it tomorrow. Dude, it was like, but I used our episode on Johnny Cash and Rick Rubin is a big, inspiration. And I went back and I listened to it and I was like, man, we did a great job on that episode.
I don't really go to our catalog and listen to our shows, but I really enjoyed that one because, Johnny Cash is a original rocker. No matter what kind of music he was a Hellraiser rocker. Yeah.
It was cool to get to, and especially to try to write something that's supposed to be like an academic paper about Johnny Cash was really cool. It's kind of, I'm a nerd. And it was cool to do that. And it was also to go back and listen to our episode. I'm like, we did a good job on that. So Second thoughts are kind of all about, stroking us off, but that's okay, man. It's our show. We'll do what we want. All right. Music news. I got a whole bunch of shit on here. So some stuff that you want to talk about. So the first one was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame held their induction ceremony in Los Angeles on November 5th. The class included Pat Benatar, Duran Duran, Eminem, The Eurythmics, Dolly Parton, Lionel Richie, and Carly Simon. There's a whole bunch of other, like early influencers and shit like that. Judas Priest got in for music excellence. But the biggest moment is the jam that they hold at the end of the show.
The last couple of years, they haven't had a jam.
Yeah, they haven't really had it hasn't been a big, ceremony.
Yeah.
But this year was several artists got back up on stage. To me, the biggest jam was the one where, when Prince was playing, and he was just tearing it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but this year was, Dolly Parton. She got up and sang Jolene, and it was all these other, Simon Le Bon from Duran Duran, Annie Lennox, Sheryl Crow, Brandy Carlisle, Pat Benatar, but Rob Halford from Judas Priest got in, and he was singing Jolene with her, and he was leaning it, and he's got the leather jacket with all the studs all over it, and he's a big Dolly Parton guy. He kept saying he kept trying to get a picture of her with doing the devil horns behind her and stuff like that. He's an older dude now. He's got all white hair.
He's a closet gay man his whole life. I'm
right.
sure he loved Dolly Parton.
Right. And I would love, actually, we should do an episode on them too, when he finally stepped out and be like, dude, I'm gay. And, at first they rejected him, and then he's back, and it was dude, who gives a shit, man? Dude, you can sing your ass off. I never. Yeah, right. I never got any of that kind of stuff. And when he got ostracized and, all that shit.
Him out of the band and shit.
Right. It's dude, you fucking rock and roll. Who cares?
He put a great album out when he left.
That new metal kind of song? That
new metal album? It was, the band was called Fight. And they were fucking heavy. They were really heavy.
He had a solo album too in the late 90s. What is it called? 2 or Halford? I don't remember. But it was I remember watching the videos and this is pretty bitchin'. But it's on YouTube. It's all bootlegged right now because the official show premieres on November 19th on HBO.
I'm sure it'll be on
there. So, I'm looking forward to it. The jam is always a good time, and it's really cool to get to see some of the band. I really like the Eurythmics. I was really glad they got in. 2 more stories. The first one was Taylor Swift. So you want to talk about this a little bit?
Holy shit, dude! This is unreal with these tickets.
So Taylor Swift tickets went on sale for her upcoming tour, and the results were predictable. The site crashed. Fans were locked out, and then the tickets flooded the after-sales market for way more money than face value. So a floor ticket at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey was listed right now for $21,600. Atlanta, $35,000, and Glendale, Arizona, $17,000.
No, see, I don't know what the fuck's going on with you.
Nobody's paying.
Why do they think people have this kind of money?
Nobody's paying that to see that.
I bet somebody will.
Dude, I don't know. I work for a very large company that's a $6 billion a year in revenue. We're not paying that. We're not buying that for anybody. We're not nobody's there's more than the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
At some point, and when that happens, then there's a bunch of senators who are tweeting Live Nation and Ticketmaster should never have been able to merge, and it's collusion and all that. As much as I'm a free market kind of guy, nobody's fucking buying those tickets. There's nobody.
See, the Fish fans are all making fun of this whole fiasco with her tickets because this is what happens when Fish goes on sale all the time. Get used to it, bitch. You know what I mean? This is what always happens.
But not for that money.
Not for that kind of money, but just so many people want tickets, it shuts down. And then, like you said, other people buy the tickets and you have to go secondhand shopping.
Right. But you feel it, at some point in your life, you're okay, it is what it is. I'm going to pay it.
Yeah, but it's not it's John Lennon come back to life playing with
Right.
the Beatles.
Not 21 grand. I mean,
She's going to have a fucking HBO special anyway at the end of the fucking
Right.
run.
right.
I think I'd rather go see Pink's show. She's coming around.
Hey, she's playing downtown Philadelphia too, right?
Is she? No, I didn't read that.
I thought
I know
was
she's playing like
something.
she's playing Fenway. I don't know where she's playing anywhere. She's playing somewhere in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure
yeah.
where.
Yeah, and Pink is she's a Philly girl. And I don't knock on. We talked about Taylor Swift a little bit last episode. I don't knock on her. There's nothing. I have nothing against her music. It's not my bag, but it's just pop music.
I think
I ain't paying 20 grand to see her.
She takes advantage of her fans because they're so in love with her that they will pay that money. And, she's all about it. She's all about it.
All right. The last story I had was the Grammy nominations. So the 2023 Grammy nominations are out, in case you listen to the Who Gives a Shit network. And I pulled up a list of the best rock songs and the best rock albums. So the best rock songs are Red Hot Chili Peppers, Turnstile, Brandi Carlile, The War on Drugs, and Ozzy and Jeff Beck. We didn't talk about half of those artists.
No.
So the Red Hot Chili Peppers, we acknowledged at the beginning. Turnstile, we talked about. Brandi Carlile, I have no idea who the fuck that is.
Oh, I know who she is.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm an old man, get off my lawn. The War on Drugs, I like them. I think I had them in my notes. I didn't talk about them. They're a Philly band. Do you ever listen to Kurt Vile?
No.
He's like a local, he was in the War on Drugs. He split off. Kind of cool. And Ozzy, of course, is Ozzy. The best rock albums, the nominees are the Black Keys, Elvis Costello, Idols, Machine Gun Kelly, Ozzy, and Spoon. We talked about a couple of them. And I don't know. I don't care.
The Grammys are clueless. All those motherfuckers are so clueless about what is the dessert. Who needs an award for music anyway?
Yeah.
I mean,
and it almost makes you think like Ozzy's just going to win it anyway because he's
Ozzy.
You're right. He's ill and he's old. And
there was one in there that I like the idea of them winning. Who was the second nominee? You said
Elvis Costello.
Yes.
I like him a lot. He's coming in.
He's coming. Yeah, I like to go see
February.
him. Yeah.
Let's check out the dates, man. See if we can make it happen. He had like a cancer scare a while ago. He was kind of ill and he's getting older. And yeah, I like him a lot. And I'd like to see him before
I've seen him.
He retired.
Have
you?
I've seen him with the guys from the Grateful Dead at Radio City Music Hall.
No shit.
He came out and sang all the Jerry parts.
No shit.
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing.
We have to do a concert memories show. All right. Electric Chair. You want to kill that Bon Jovi song?
Fucking right.
All right.
Because it's getting close to Christmas.
All right. Cool. All right. So now we're going to move on to the electric chair. And whether you've been listening to us for a long time or not, the electric chair is when we kill a song because it stinks. We started that way back in episode 4, and here we are on episode 52. And before we did this show, we recorded a bit for the Song Facts podcast on our favorite Christmas song. And we did one around Fairy Tale in New York by the Pogues. And we were talking a little bit about the Bon Jovi cover and how it's the absolute worst song of all time. And we said, Christmas is going to be here. By the time you listen to this, it's going to be really close to Thanksgiving. So we're going to kill Fairy Tale in New York by John Bon Jovi.
Oh, dude, it's so bad.
We trash canned this before, too. Like, I think in our Christmas episode on Bad Christmas.
Now, I say on the show all the time, I grew up listening to Bon Jovi. They were my favorite bands growing up. I am so fucking embarrassed of this. I'm embarrassed of what he's been doing for the last 10 years.
The song is actually, if you watch it on YouTube, the comments are disabled because it had so many bad comments.
It's fucking awful. I mean, it's just the man can sing a ballad. He's doing okay here. But wait till it picks up.
But the song is not, it's not supposed to sound good, right?
I know, but he can't.
It's Shane McGowan with his broken teeth and his,
fucking right.
You're a drunk, you're a bum, you're a slut.
He's the last
you're a
person.
Slut, old slut on drunk.
He's the last. John Bon Jovi's the last person that should be singing this fucking song. His teeth are too nice to begin with.
It'd be like Sinatra sang it or something.
I'd believe it. I'd believe it more. I don't believe it. John Bon Jovi singing this song.
Sammy Davis Jr. singing it.
Yeah, I just want to hear him sing the upbeat part. God, it sounds awful.
He's trying to sound like the Irish accent.
Yeah, like he's
too.
acting. Like he's acting. He's like profound Italian guy. He like comes out. I'm the Italian guy. Blah blah blah. New Jersey,
We
blah, blah.
normally talk over all these like. There's not many of these songs that we play that we're speechless.
I'm so embarrassed of what he's been doing for the last 10 years. Dude, he needs to stop and he needs to get Richie Sambora back in the band and be a nostalgic band instead of going out there and doing new things. Let's just fucking kill it, dude.
We sentence you to death.
I had a supplemental music news story that Richie Sambora was somewhere recently, and somebody asked him about like, "Hey, are you thinking about rejoining the band?" And he was like, "We're talking about it."
Yeah, they're gonna have. Go ahead.
No, I'm scrolling to the part of my notes. It's still fucking. The song's still playing. Yeah, so Richie Sambora admitted that he's had some discussions with his bandmates in Bon Jovi about rejoining the band. He was at a red carpet event and they said, "Would you guys play the 2023 Glastonbury Festival?" Which is like the huge UK festival. And he said, "It's a possibility. We're having a lot of talks about it." So
Well, next year is their 40th anniversary.
So
you're going to see them tour with Richie Sambora. Though they fucking better, they're going to lose a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
John Bon Jovi goes out and still thinks he can write new albums and go out and play those fucking songs live and not play like the nostalgic songs because he can't fucking do it out. Richie Sambora, he sounds awful because those guys' harmony is like fucking amazing together. John singing about Richie is like peanut butter without jelly.
But all that shit we just talked about, all those music, all that bands, imagine like, those two come in and they just, hey, we're here.
Right? And they just rip it the fuck apart.
Right.
I don't know, Bruce.
I think we need them.
Get off my lawn.
Right. All right. So that's a wrap on episode 52. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast platform and tell a friend about us. Man, listen to all this music. I'm fucking exhausted from sitting through all this stuff.
Holy shit.
Man, if you want to hear this kind of stuff and if you're an old, get off my lawn kind of person like us and you want to hear some of this new music, we did the work for you, man. You can just hop on Spotify. You can check out the podcast playlist that we put together. There's a link in our show notes. And if you're looking for a link in the show notes, you can also find out a link to prisoneroftherockandroll.com. There's a link to our Facebook and our Twitter accounts. And if you're not down with social media, you can always email us at show@prisonersofrockandroll.com. So, final thought, man. Have a very Merry Thanksgiving, dude. We'll be back after Thanksgiving, and very happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners. And, we'll be back. We got a couple episodes left. I think we're going to be winding down season 2.
Yeah, my man. Yeah, time flies, my man, with this show.
We normally end with a Christmas episode, so I think we're going to figure out when we're going to do that. We know what we're going to do, and that'll be our finale, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll for season 3. I'm amazed that we're even saying that.
They're stuck with us. People are stuck with us now.
I love it. All right, we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Keep on rocking.
Peace out.
I'm just a prisoner.